Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Taurus. Doesn't matter if you're sun, moon, or rising. If you have significant Taurus placements, this may resonate for you. Only take it if it resonates. Otherwise, just leave it. Find a different video to watch. So Taurus, before we get started, I was seeing the Nightingale card from this deck, the Nightingale card, which talks about sort of like it represents a throat chakra, but also like expressing something from the heart. Maybe you're clearing out energies through the throat chakra in some way. I was I've had like terrible allergies for the last couple months now, and it's like causing like this the sinus, it's like a sinus congestion or something. I don't know what's going on with that, but anyways, I was once told by a choir director that you actually sound best singing when there is like if you have like a slight head cold, like when your sinuses are slightly congested. She said something to me once about like you actually sing better when you're in that state. So there may be something here. I don't know if that's true or not, but there may be something here about like maybe there's something actually kind of uncomfortable about what you're going through. Where it may actually be causing like pain or discomfort, but that it's actually somehow allowing you to perform better, or it could somehow be something like express something of your heart, perhaps. I don't know in what way that will relate to you, but I will get cards out. So it's kind of just coming through as being like if you're experiencing discomfort or pain, or I don't know, something like that, where it's like it's uncomfortable, you're working through something. It could be like expressing difficult emotions as well, like that experience of experiencing that sort of discomfort is actually allowing you to perform better in some other aspect of your life or something like that. It's actually like improving something, or I don't know quite if it's improving something or if it's like it's almost making like your voice, so to speak, sound more clear. Okay, so there's something about that. Could have to do with sleep as well. Okay, caterpillar, opportunity. The dust devil, moving out of stagnation. That's that discomfort energy. Oh. Okay. Eyes of the eagle, rising above the fray. And then dances on one foot, balancing act. Oh, okay, hold on one second. I'm going to read the dances on one foot, balancing act, just because the moth is here at the bottom of the deck. Interesting, this eagle. To grab it. Eyes of the eagle, rising above the fray. Then you have sky dancers at the bottom of the deck. So the number 9 is coming through very strongly for you. So dances on one foot, balancing act. Resourcefulness, saying yes to life. When dances on one foot shows up, you are called to find a new balance. Just as a dancer moves gracefully into each pose, No matter how precariously balanced a step might seem, you must bring equanimity into the situation before you, no matter how thorny or difficult a relationship seems. If you're putting too much effort into managing your life, work, relationship, family, and digital media, you're missing the point. You have to be dancing while juggling your entire life, knowing that at any one time, half of it is going to be up in the air. It's not that you are doing too much and find it impossible to catch up. Rather, it's that you are confusing readiness with preparation. You will never, ever be fully prepared for all the new challenges in life, but you can be ready to say yes to a new invitation the universe offers you. Live in a state of yes to spirit and no to everything not infused with life, romance, vitality, and the sacred. You'll be surprised by how quickly your load lightens when you hold true to this lesson. You are challenged now to work with the resources available to you and not be seduced by the belief, if only I had more. Life has provided you with everything you need to accomplish your goals and fulfill your mission. When it feels like you are losing your balance, do not contract, holding your arms close to your chest, for you will fall. Instead, reach out and extend them fully, saying yes to Spirit's steadying hand. Okay. Balancing act. Dances on one foot. I feel like that's your opportunity. There's an energy here that's like moving you out of stagnation, which is your opportunity. I was getting something here about like riding a bicycle. The Leo reading might have a message in there for you. I'll link it above because there was a bicycle coming through with that one. But this one kind of feels more like it's harder to balance on a bicycle if you're going slowly, right? If you're like, because it's kind of coming through as being like, this card comes out when it's kind of like you have a lot going on and it's kind of like you have to just keep going with it. And there could be this energy of feeling overwhelmed, and that might cause sort of like a tendency to withdraw or to like try and slow down or try to like manage things. And I feel like the answer is to actually like, I know it's going to seem kind of contradictory, but to go faster or to like keep going, because it's kind of like, imagine if you're on a bicycle and I'm just seeing like trying to slow down, and so it becomes more wobbly is how it's coming through, versus if you are moving faster or more steadily or like at like a, I don't know how to describe, like it kind of feels like you have to be moving at a certain speed in order to maintain the balance, right? There's also something, there was this video I watched on YouTube about like, when you're turning on a bicycle, if you want to turn right, you have to first compensate by going left, right? And if you want to turn left, you have to compensate by going right first. And because there was they had like this bike that they made where if you wanted to go right, they prevented you from going left, and it was actually impossible to make the turn. So there's something here about balance that's really significant, where like perhaps you have like something in mind where you're trying to turn right or whatever, you're going somewhere, but in order to do that, you have to first compensate the other way, if that makes sense. There's something there about that that's significant. Because it's coming through with stability, right? Like, perhaps your goal is stability in some way, but in order to gain stability, you have to first make yourself unstable. Okay, so you have Cobra, Swan, and Bat. Look at this, the Cobra and the cat energy here. The Cobra talks about a teacher. A teacher appears when you are ready for the lesson. That kind of thing. This is your opportunity. I'm going to read the Swan. Maybe there's an energy that's sort of moving you out of stagnation. Like there's a teacher sort of arriving for you to move you out of stagnation. It can feel sort of unbalancing, maybe. Or that it's like, it's creating an imbalance. There may also be just sort of like a lot of information coming at you. Okay, effortless creativity, sensitive mystic, elegant power. The swan represents heightened creativity. In Hindu mythology, the goddess Saraswati, the embodiment of language, creativity, and artistry, rides on the back of this grateful creature. The swan is ready to take us there to the fluid realm of writing, creating, and reflecting. This potent and healing energy is not to be taken for granted or taken lightly. When the Swan card appears, your soul is calling for attention, for solo time. An inner voice is waiting to be heard, an inner vision likely to be revealed. Yeah, creative power, which is interesting. So I feel like there's something about like, so again, this is bringing in that energy of the throat chakra. Maybe you are creating something that is reflecting some inner truth back to you. It doesn't have to be creative necessarily. Like it doesn't have to be necessarily that you're making something or that kind of energy, but it's like, it's like, it's kind of like spending time on your own and what reflects back to you when you're by yourself? What reflects back to you when you're by yourself? Like, I don't know. There could be something about like, when you're alone, for example, like what do you enjoy doing? Could be something like that. And that's revealing some aspect of an inner truth. The bat says darkness letting go, death leading to rebirth. Before emerging, the bat waits for the sun to set and the moon to rise. In the darkness, it can see all that was invisible in the daylight hours. The bat is a master of the subtle senses, of the underlying force that caused some things to prosper and others to fade. The bat card shows up to signify the ending of a chapter, the closing of a door. The bat comes swiftly, encouraging us to move on. In just a few hours, a new day dawns, no more lingering in the past. I do feel, though, that Taurus, that you're moving, or you're creating movement in some way. You have Spider at the bottom of the deck. I was getting this energy with the bat, right? Because the bat uses echolocation, right? So what this is coming through with is like, you're flying somewhere, you're going somewhere, and because the bat can't see, what it does is it sends out a call, right? Like it uses its voice to send out a call, and then that sound hits off of an object or whatever, and then reflects back to you, or back to the bat, I should say. And the way that the waves are reflected back indicates like how far it is, how big it is, like that kind of thing, like provides information about distance and all of that, and like spatial awareness, right? Like the show, if you've watched the show Daredevil, like he's blind, but there's this kind of like that kind of energy of like being able to get a picture or an image about the situation or the environment based on what is reflected back to you. So that's sort of how it's coming through here with the swan and the bat coming through, like because maybe there's sort of, maybe you're in this period of darkness, which is kind of coming through as being like not being able to see necessarily what's ahead, because I feel like this eagle card sort of fell off the table. I feel like there's something where it's like you're stepping into something new, but you don't know, like you don't have your regular vision is how it's feeling to me. Like there's an aspect of not being able to see what it is that you're stepping into. And so there may be sort of like having to rely on a different sense here. It could have to do with sound, or like, because the throat chakra is coming through, like what it is that you are speaking and then what is reflected back to you after that happens is kind of what's coming through. Okay, I'm gonna read the caterpillar card. Opportunity. Transformation, opportunity, independence from conditioned responses. The energy of caterpillar appears, heralding a time of transformation and opportunity. Here you are being asked to revise your dreams. If it looks and smells familiar, step away from it for the time being. The new cannot emerge from the old, and the youthful and vital cannot emerge from the old and aged and sickly. Experiment and surprise yourself with what arises for you in this moment. Caterpillar is an invitation to test out a new strategy to get a different, better result. Remember that the definition of lunacy is continuing with the same thinking and behavior and hoping for a different outcome. It's time to break away from habitual responses to surprise yourself and startle others, eliciting a smile or frown or a look of awe from those around you. Do not wait for an invitation from life to practice a bit of outrageousness or for permission to do the unexpected. Any other response right now will lead to more of the same and no real change. Sometimes the most original response is no response whatsoever. Stand stock still, staring steadily into the eyes of the players in your drama, avoiding engagement until the moment is right. Caterpillar invites you to witness the story unfolding, knowing that deciding on the timing of your action is as essential as finding the best move to make. And when you do act, let there be no doubt in anyone's mind of your determination and the power you unleash. There's something about timing here that's significant for you. With the spider at the bottom of the deck, it is kind of coming through as being like, because the spider to me talks about, like, it does talk about creativity and also manifestation. Because it's like it talks about like you create your web, you create your vibrational web. There's a lot of like sound energy coming through and vibration and frequency. It could also be like what you're listening to and what you're speaking. Anyways, and then waiting for whatever it is to come through. This card is also reminding me of like these art things that my sisters and I used to do as a kid, where you would take crayons, right? Like a whole bunch of different color crayons, and you would color in the whole paper in multicolored crayons, right? Like you would cover the whole thing in color. And then you would take sort of like paint, like acrylic paint, black acrylic paint and cover up all of the crayons so you couldn't see anything. And then you would take like a sharp, like a pencil or like a sharp piece of metal or something like that, like a paper clip, and then like sort of carve out lines out of the black paint, and it would reveal all of this color from underneath. So I actually feel like you're in that process where it's like, where it's kind of like revealing the colors that have been hidden underneath the black paint. I feel like it has something to do with like, the bat energy is coming through, like, almost like what's ahead for you, but it's hidden, right? You can't see the colors that have been painted over. So it's kind of like steadily unveiling a pattern, perhaps through the darkness, but it's coming through with like sound. I don't know why sound specifically. Well, it's kind of coming through, so it doesn't have to be that exactly. But it's just like, as I was talking about like my sinuses, like I can't smell a thing, right? It's like one of your senses is out of commission, so to speak. So you have to rely on your other senses. It feels like for you, vision might be impaired in whatever way. Like it doesn't have to be literal, but it feels kind of like, your sight. Perhaps what you are seeing in your immediate environment is not necessarily reflective of what you wish to manifest. And so it could be something about like having to rely on your other senses. I feel like speaking is somehow important for you. Like, how you use your voice. I'm getting this other download as well about, if you're doing like a crossword puzzle and you have clues, right? You have clues that tell you what the word is that fill in sort of like the boxes. And it's kind of like there may have been one clue where it's like the across clue. You filled in a word, for example, and then, how that letter sort of connects to the down column. But I feel like maybe there was something wrong with the across. So it's kind of like you're trying to fill in this puzzle and the next clue, you know what the word is, but because the first clue was wrong, that it doesn't match up, like the line, like, you can't get the next clue if the first clue is incorrect, right? Because you have the wrong letters there. So there's something about that. Maybe there is some sort of like correction energy happening where it's like you have to go back to the first clue or something like that and make sure you know if that clue is correct. And it's also talking about like, don't fill anything in unless you're 100% sure of like what the clue is, because anything that you fill in could affect clues down the line. It's kind of feeling like that. I don't know how that would relate to you literally, but that's the metaphor that's coming in. So I'm going to pull tarot cards. We're at 25 minutes. So for Taurus, please, what are the energies that want to come through? Okay, you have strength and temperance coming out together. Temperance talks about transmuting something, like taking one element and transforming it into another. That could also be what sort of the senses are. It could be something about like what you hear. is you have a lot of fire. Well, it's interesting. Because the 3 animal signs that you got were fire, cobra, water, swan, and air, bat. There's no earth here. So it could be something where it's like something that you're used to, something that's very stable and reliable for you, such as the earth, is you're now like that aspect is not available to you, is kind of how it's coming through. So you have to rely on the other elements like fire, water, and air in order to do something, because these first 2 cards you have Sagittarius and Leo, right? So those 2 readings as well might be significant for you that I did last week. There's a lot of fire. Because fire creates transformation in earth energies. I feel like something's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't know what it is. Perhaps you're learning from somebody with a lot of fire in their chart. Okay, I'm just gonna pull more cards. I need more than well, maybe it's not about needing more. It's just kind of like being patient until the message comes through. It feels like it's on the tip of my tongue. Okay, okay. Okay, I'm seeing sort of like a figure skater. You know when they do turns and things like that? How when they open their arms out, the turn actually goes slower, right? Which is interesting. It slows down their momentum versus when they bring their arms in, they spin faster. There's something about that, especially coming through with this, right? The dance is on one foot, where it's talking about like if you contract your energy in whatever way, if you pull in, if you go inward or something like that, it actually causes something to spin faster. Perhaps in a way that's unfavorable to you. That may be actually more uncomfortable. So the guidance is actually to like expand your reach, perhaps, or your energy, like to like open up. Even because now that sort of energy with like the singing, right? Like I don't have any sort of singing training. I did choir for like a little bit, but that's it. But it's like if you expand like your lungs, right? It becomes more powerful. And it also, I feel like there's this energy of like feeling out of control, right? Like that's sort of how it's coming through with this energy, like feeling like perhaps things are out of your control, or things are moving too fast, or there's too much for you to manage or something like that. And it's almost like you have, in order to slow that energy down, you have to expand or like open up. I don't know if it's literally your arms or like your lungs, or pushing your shoulders back or something like that. Like it's feeling like becoming like a very commanding presence. It's feeling very much like lungs and throat and arms. Okay, I think we can move on. There's something about power here. Like could be like the power of your voice. Nine of Wands. This card is, it always feels kind of like, being in such a beautiful environment, but there, like, it's like you've put yourself in a prison. That's how I see this card, the Nine of Wands, like, or you've put barriers between you and what is in front of you. That's how I see this card. Like, there's no enjoyment in the landscape that's around you because of these sort of, like, it could be like past experiences, it could be past disappointments. So that's why it's kind of coming through as being like reflections of you within your environment. I feel like if there is sort of like something happening where it's like trying to, I just heard the word dislodge something. Like it's like there's been something stuck in your throat, and there may be something where it's like there's a big energy coming in, like the dust devil, right? Moving like a big dust cloud or something that like, okay, imagine for a second, there's been like something stuck in your throat. And so a big dust cloud comes in and it causes you to cough, like violently coughing. And then it actually dislodges whatever it was that was in your throat. So it's kind of coming through like that, where it's like something in your environment is coming in as like a change or something unpleasant or uncomfortable, as I was saying with the sinus example, but that it's actually like helping you to, I don't know, perhaps remove some sort of barrier is how it's coming through, or I don't know, something like that, where maybe it's something that got stuck in your energy or something like that. Because this comes through as being like you're in the right place, or you're in a good place, but there are barriers preventing you from experiencing it in a positive way. Like you're looking through bars is how it's coming through. There's really like a strong connection to music here, because I'm seeing music score. Like something about time signatures. And there's the number 9 again. Something about time signatures and okay, I'm just gonna say what I'm receiving. I have no idea how this relates, but like 4/4 time, for example, right? Top number, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure top number is the number of beats per bar. Bottom number is what note gets 1 beat. So quarter note would get 1 beat in a 4/4 time. And you can sort of count or figure out what the time signature is by listening to the beats per measure, that kind of thing. And that certain time signatures have a distinct sound, right? Like a waltz is in 3, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then there's also something about like the emphasis on which beat in the measure gets the emphasis. Like for 3, like something in 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, where 1 is the first beat and that's the one that gets the emphasis. I have no idea what that's talking about. But imagine if you were to now like change the emphasis. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It sounds slightly different. I don't know what that's talking about. Could you even put an emphasis on the 2? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I don't know. I have no idea, Taurus. There's something about timing, and emphasis. Knight of Swords and Page of Swords. Maybe it's something to do with like keeping yourself on track. Like, I hated practicing piano, but there's something about keeping in time with the rhythm or something like that. And understanding like which one's an on versus off kind of beat. That's how it's coming through with the Knight of Swords and the Page of Swords. Like knowing when it's an on, when the emphasis is on, and when it's not. Again, with speaking, knowing when to speak and when not to speak. The Knight versus the Page of Swords. But there's something about putting emphasis on putting emphasis on something. Emphasizing something. Okay, now you have King of Swords. Interesting. 2 of Pentacles and Justice. Both of these are coming out with balance, right? The 2 of Pentacles and Justice. Okay, because there's something about, as I was saying with like that bicycle metaphor at the beginning, if you want to turn left, right, you have to first compensate by turning right, right? So if you put something in for the Justice, there's like something that you're trying to, I don't know, whatever, you're focused on something, and it's like you put one pentacle in one side of the scales. You put something in one side of the scales. And so you now, in order to maintain balance, you have to also put something on the other side of the scales. So it could be something where it's like, in order to maintain balance, right? So to maintain balance, you have to put yourself out of balance is how it's going through. even with like that thing with the rhythm, right? Like 1 2 3 1 2 3. 1 is the thing that sort of leads, like pushes the music forward. So there's something about like rhythm and like in order to move forward, 1 has to be the sort of emphasizing, or like the like the first step, or like the leading step, or I know there's like musical terminology I'm not getting right there, but it's kind of coming through like that. In order to have balance, you have to first put yourself out of balance. Like it's not, it would almost be like there would be no movement in a song or whatever, in whatever, if there was no like emphasis on the 1, if that makes sense metaphorically. I have no idea if this is making any sense. But anyways, Taurus, it does feel like you're moving, but I feel, or like moving forward in whatever that is. There's something though about, because you have 3 swords in a row, right? Knight, Page, and King of Swords. And then Justice, which is also an air energy. That's all coming out under the bat. Perhaps there's some sort of closure or ending needed in terms of like how you communicate or something like that. It's also coming through as like beats in a conversation, that kind of thing. I haven't touched music theory in forever, so forgive me if I get things wrong. The 9 of Wands. So you have King of Wands, Page of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles. Okay, this Page of Pentacles comes through with this energy of a Marvel movie called The Winter Soldier. It's a Captain America movie, The Winter Soldier. I don't know how it's relating to your story or your energy in this reading, but just briefly, the Winter Soldier, he is Captain America's best friend. Like, they were best friends before each of them became superheroes. And the Winter Soldier was captured by the enemy, and he lost an arm. And he also underwent like all of this like brainwashing to turn him into like a killer assassin. And part of the Winter Soldier and Captain America's story is that like the Captain America is so loyal to the Winter Soldier, even though he's done sort of things that like under the influence of being brainwashed by the enemy, that kind of thing. I don't know how that relates to you, but because it's coming out under the 9 of Wands, there may be something about like clearing out past programming from enemies from the past that may have sort of like caused you to behave in ways where you didn't like, or that you, or like whatever, that you could also be the Captain America energy in this story, where like maybe you're seeing how people can become quote unquote programmed to behave in certain ways according to like somebody else who quote unquote brainwashed them. I know I'm using very intense like sort of scenarios here, but with the Nine of Pentacles, this feels kind of like being free from that, gaining your independence from that, being able to make your own choices. Because the Nine of Wands, as I was saying with this card, is that like it looks like they're in like a really positive space, but because of the quote unquote brainwashing, they still feel that they're in a prison. They still feel like they're not free. So maybe this is somebody else. I don't know. Take it how it resonates, but it's kind of coming through as being like somebody who feels like even though they're in sort of like paradise, that they feel that they're not free, or that they're still operating under some sort of conditioning from the past that is preventing them from seeing that they're free, that they can do as they wish, that they can make their own choices, that kind of thing. But perhaps are feeling stuck, or like what is reflecting back to them is not what they want. And I feel like that's where like that sort of that crossword energy is coming through. Like this, you can't, like someone, whoever this is relating to, they can't fill out the next clue because the previous clue that's going this way is saying that in this spot there's a letter A. But the word that I think fits here doesn't have an A in that spot. That makes sense. So there's no movement is how it's feeling. So it's almost like you have to go back and erase the previous clue, programming, conditioning, whatever word you want to use it. Those are like such extreme words. It's more simply like unlearning what you learned from the past. I say that more simply as if it's simple. It's not simple. But it is something about like unlearning something. Erasing the clue from the past. Seven of Pentacles, Three of Cups, Two of Swords. And then the Four of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, there's like a significant period of rest that you're moving through at the moment, Taurus. The Seven of Pentacles, it does talk about like planting seeds, right? This to me looks like harvesting something, right? Like being able to get the fruit from your labor. But with the Five of Cups, I feel like there is some sort of like ending or loss here with the Three of Cups, because like that's sort of like coming through as the past energy that is not serving you at the current moment, right? It's not the correct answer to the previous clue, and so it's impeding your movement forward. With the Two of Swords here, Because normally the two swords are crossed, and this one they're not. Which to me is kind of feeling like there's something about like okay, there's something about like you're holding two swords. They both feel right is kind of how it's coming through. Which is interesting because it's like the first clue you feel like is right. The second clue, though, even though you might know what the word is, you can't fill it in because the first clue is in the way. So it's like in order to like put the second clue in, you have to erase the first clue. But that means that the first clue is wrong and you have to find a new word for that one. So it's so maybe you're in the period right now of like, okay, which clue is right? Because they can't both be right. There's also something here about like, I feel like there's something about like, again with like the time signatures, right? Perhaps you're changing your time signature, so to speak. So there may be something about like circadian rhythms, like your sleep schedule, or like, doesn't have to be that. There's something about like your time signature that's changing, where you put emphasis on certain beats. That's going to change how like you flow, perhaps. There's also something about like a coda, repeating the ending of something. Like if you're in music, the coda, if I'm getting this wrong, I apologize, but it's kind of coming through as like, if it says coda at the end of the music, you have to go back to where it says coda previously and then replay that section, right? So it's kind of like repeating a section of in order to end or conclude the piece. It is kind of feeling like having to go back to something and like resolve it is how it's feeling to me. But it feels like resolve in a way where it's erasing something that you learned there. I'm getting like a completion energy for you though, Taurus. Like something is ending. Something is finished. No, it didn't flip. Okay. 1 second. This deck requires patience. Okay, there we go. Okay, you have two. The inner conflict resolution and the service. Okay, I'm going to read this one, the inner conflict resolution. Venomous snake. Venomous snakes comes to speak to us about the ironic remedy of poison. The right amount of poison in our life acts like a vaccine, allowing us to heal and build immunity towards a larger, deadly dose. This poison comes to us in the form of inner conflict, suffering, and self-sabotage. Every great venture that you deeply yearn to manifest is met with agonizing inner conflict. When we are on our journey towards expansion and self-fulfillment, we will come face to face with an inner dialogue that tries to tear down our dreams. These debilitating moments of great mental anguish are put on your path for you to witness, learn from, and eventually overcome. They are quite literally the catalyst for your growth. Strange how we view these thoughts as holding us back, when in fact, in the right amount, they can act like a vaccine that allows us to create a certain type of immunity towards future obstacles on the journey of manifesting. Despite the inner agony, congratulations, this is all a normal part of the process and you're leveling up. This is why Falcon brought her medicine to this card, because she heralds victory in overcoming your current obstacle. Acknowledge that this moment of discomfort is a part of your evolution. This is a growing pain. Falcon and Venomous Snake combine their medicine to reassure you the outcome is promising, and whatever conflict you are currently facing will soon dissipate. Take a deep breath in, release, and smile. This is that energy of like turning left or like compensating left in order to go right. That's sort of what's coming through here, Taurus. So be patient. It's all coming together. I'm going to leave the message there. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.